WASD to fly. Well, that was quite something. I don't know what to say. Google has just released. Now, imagine if I did videos like that. Might have more subs. So, today we're going to be taking a look at a surprising but exciting new release, Gemini 3.6 Flash from Google. Now, by now, Gemini 3.5 Pro was supposed to be in existence, but I know a lot of folks have expressed some fatigue over the fact that that is not yet currently out. Personally, if it's going to be better if they wait a couple more weeks, I'm okay with it. I just do want it to come out. They also did mention that they've started the biggest, most ambitious pre-training run for Gemini 4, so that's exciting as well. For today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the newly released Gemini 3.6 Flash, mainly using Google's anti-gravity coding IDE, which I do have open right here, and the model is selected. So before we get into it, please do feel free to subscribe so I can get that 100K plaque. To begin, we can see that 3.6 Flash was not the only thing released in this drop. There was also 3.5 Flash Lite and 3.5 Flash Cyber. For this video, we're going to be focused on 3.6 Flash, but there are other models here just to make pertinent note of. So basically the main takeaway from this is as similar to when we see new announcement posts for new models. It's better in pretty much all aspects, but I do want to make note that there are some interesting things contained within here. Some things we may have briefly touched upon in the introduction, where basically they do specifically mention Gemini 3.5 Pro is currently testing with partners and we plan to make it broadly available as soon as it's ready. And they mention that they have also started the ambitious pre-training run for Gemini 4. So that's exciting to just have more models on the horizon, I suppose could be said. Now, something that I see as a main point in this announcement post is essentially that this has a seemingly significant reduction in the tokens needed to complete a specific task. They do have some benchmark charts showing that, and some of them are like pretty aggressive reductions in tokens, so that's kind of cool. They specifically mention on the Artificial Analysis Index, they see 3.6 Flash is consuming 17% fewer tokens than its predecessor, 3.5 Flash. Now, something else that's interesting and perhaps more pertinent is there is a reduction in price here. So when 3.5 Flash came out, it was actually pretty expensive, especially considering what folks expected it to be, being a Flash model and not the highest performing Pro model. This has reduced the price a bit, so it is now $1.50 per million in and $7.50 per million out. I believe it was $9 per million out previously for 3.5 Flash. They also mentioned some additional improvements beyond coding, but I do specifically have interesting coding, as I would assume a lot of folks watching these videos do as well, such as improved computer use capabilities and knowledge work. They do have some benchmark JPEGs down here that pretty much tell the story. The deep SWE benchmark is one that seems fairly highly held by folks when accurately judging the capability of a model. And we can see here, it's a pretty decent leap over 3.5 Flash. It is a ginormous leap over 3.1 Pro, which is almost a little concerning because I still do use that model quite a bit. So I'll just have to maybe double check some things. Machine learning engineering, that's also cool to see because models can help you optimize models to run faster on local hardware or even help you train them or come up with things, assuming they don't trigger guardrails and fall back to Opus 4.8. And the flip side of that is we also see these charts showing the average output tokens per task, and that is a significant reduction on the deep SWE benchmark and then the AA intelligence index as well. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully it means the results will be fast and furious. I don't know why that came to mind. And really, I think the next thing to do is maybe quickly just mention the other two models that were released, even if we're not going to be testing them specifically. So Gemini 3.5 Flash Cyber, it is built off of 3.5 Flash, and it is fine-tuned to find, validate, and patch vulnerabilities quickly. Probably the biggest question that I know folks will have, because it's the first thing I thought of. No, you can't just go and access and use this right now. They're going to do a limited access pilot program exclusively available to trusted parties, etc. So that's probably the biggest question, the one I had as well. Additionally to that, we also do have 3.5 Flash Lite. So Flash Lite is the faster and cheaper version, coming in at 30 cents per million input tokens and $2.50 per million output tokens, and it runs at 350 output tokens per second, which is definitely quite speedy. So there is also a new model there for folks who are perhaps needing higher speeds, lower intelligence, and lower cost. So with that, I have already, of course, started with our first test, which is going to be the Browser OS test v2.5. So I sent this and it worked for 15 seconds and it seems to have stopped with an implementation plan that we're going to need to proceed. Again, this is just using Google's anti-gravity IDE, which is just their native like coding product for the Gemini models. All right, we're getting Cyber OS. I would imagine we're probably going to have some form of like synthwave aesthetic or neon, which I very much like, so we'll just allow it to go ahead. It made the plan by itself, so I didn't specifically put this in plan mode or anything like that. It just gave that as a result of sending it the traditional prompt that we always send for the browser OS test v2.5, so now it'll build it. That seemed to have happened very quickly. I do see a little keyboard emoji there, which makes me excited because I do believe the 3.5 Flash one, it surprised me in a few ways, and I believe one of them was including something musical in the browser OS. So, all right, this is this is troubled. Let's turn the speaker on. Unfortunately, our GTA clone is exhibiting behaviors that we sometimes critique, where essentially, but when the police chase you, if they just snap to your position and then go like that, it's just something I see in smaller models. I suppose we can drive around. It does definitely have this kind of cyber aesthetic to it. Well, that takes care of going through the first app for us. Okay, this background's actually kind of cool. It let itself down by automatically launching with that app open. We do have the time in the bottom right, as well as the date, as well as our volume level, and our system is okay. Let's check if there's a right click. No, there isn't. All right, that just means they didn't benchmax it. Or maybe they did, and they specifically didn't include that, so I would say they didn't benchmax it. All possibilities must be considered. All right, this coupled with the background is very space-themed. All right, we have our shield, and we move this diamond UAP-style ship around the asteroid field. WASD to fly. Okay, so that's our laser blaster sound. Oh, okay. I've been up all night. I didn't know this was going to drop, so I saw it right as I was about to like just chill, and I was like, oh, okay, well, time to film a video. Next up, wallpapers, Matrix Rain, perhaps a bit fast, but good. Retro Neon, Synth Grid. Oh, very calm. And then Dark Obsidian, minimal. I'm probably going to go back to the Starfield. I like that. And we do get notifications up here, which I don't like that. Like Mac OS does that and it infuriates me. Next up, we have a terminal. Okay, simple. The only other things will just like GTA, will open the GTA game. And I want to save the synth and what I would assume to be the special feature for just actually clicking on those. I didn't check the start menu. Okay, not bad. Simple, but definitely in the style of the aesthetic this is chosen. Cyber synth time. All right, okay, perhaps a bit less visually exciting than I had anticipated, but okay, it's not mapped to the physical keyboard, you just have to click them. Interesting, these two sounds are from our spaceflight game, which I did say sounded musical, so. 3D spatial mode. Drag with the mouse to orbit windows in 3D holographic space. I would presume I likely need to have some windows open before we do that, so. Okay, well, I mean, yes, it works. It's just, can we, okay, this is, I'm going to hold judgment till the conclusion of the test, but so far, I feel like 3.5 Flash did better than this. I don't 100% remember, but I do recall being more enamored with the musical artifact that it included in that result, so we'll see. Next up, we're going to do the self-contained C++ skate sim. Now, this one, I am doing the slightly modified version that I first introduced with Kimi K3, where it needs to have an 80s mall aesthetic. I know folks don't like changes, but sometimes these prompts need to be iteratively changed, even if it's just a small bit, like a different environment, just to kind of shake things up in the event that they've made their way into familiarity in the model's training data. So that is the reason for doing that, and it's something that unfortunately is a necessary evil. I understand folks wanting to see the same exact things because it gives a better reference point of how the models do compared to one another, but it's a balance, I guess. So honestly, writing some of these results faster than it takes me to manually move the mouse and click approve, it's insane. It's really, again, this is, I mean, the speed for 3.5 Flash Lite, they said 350 tokens per second. This is just really, really flying. And it's not the Flash Lite model. Though it does say when you click on the model selector right here, fast is available for a limited time. So maybe this is just like a new release, something like fast, limited time. And I don't have the option to have it not be fast. So, okay, and it gives us the specific code here just to go ahead and run this. So we're going to do that right now. We'll see what we get. See, that's not bad. Now, it's funny because the model's results when it came to like some of the web things were just not as impressive as I would have hoped, but this is actually a competent and together result, even if it's really simple, and that shows maybe just some wider capability in terms of different languages. All right, and the thing is, like, it made the text itself, that oftentimes is a trouble point. The sparks when grinding on the rail. So, okay, the people seem to be countering some form of medical issues. However, like that, the spark effects, grind balance, use A and D keys. I've never seen that in one of these results before. So this is kind of more of what I was hoping to see from this model. Maybe we'll just like not do web stuff. Okay, now the issue is I can't get it off the rail. That's okay. Let's relaunch it. Kickflip and heel flip is J and K. That's always frustrating, is when it just makes the model and the board rotate as one. The board should really, at this point, be independently moving from the specific player model. Let's try a... Okay, so that like weird shake is... Oh, okay, it's what happens when we bail. I do like the tile floor. Now, I can't definitively say this one is a example of this model just really liking neon cyberpunk because it's supposed to be an 80s mall, so this is similar, but I'm just giving it that screenshot we took and saying, what do you think? I'm not giving it anything else. All right, just as quickly, basically as long as it took me to say this needs to be better, it redid it. Okay, this is definitely showing improvement. We have ceilings to the mall. We are going to need to check, does the board now move independently of the player? Very good, it does. So I didn't necessarily tell it that the bail effect is concerning. Let's do like see if we can get like a sick trick. Yep, that was good. And still the rail balancing is still, the ramps don't let us get up there. A little frustrating. I've never seen the rail balancing thing get implemented into this game. What's over here in the corner? Okay, I don't know what those would be, but probably arcade machines if this is an 80s mall. It definitely did improve it, and I'm okay with that. All right, so I'm giving it the subway station with the FPS prompt built into it, but for this, I want to do just a simple sort of A/B test where I've given it to this from within anti-gravity, at the same time, just from within the regular web chat interface here. Okay, I gave it to it with Flash selected here. I wanted to have some form of like A/B test just to make sure that everything is all set, and that did it just as quickly as I have been seeing results here from within anti-gravity. So that answers my question. I mean, if that's that fast, why not? I'm trying this just with the newly released 3.5 Flash Lite as well, because this should be even faster, and it'll be interesting, if nothing more, just to get one result from this as well. This is taking longer to respond than 3.6 Flash is. Oh, maybe not. Nope, never mind. It just wasn't really streaming the result for us. So here's the subway result just from 3.5 Flash Lite. Did these models get swapped on the back end? No, because that's a little better, but... I'm really... Oh, I think we're out. That's why. There we go. I'm genuinely confused right now. This is the one that 3.5 Flash Lite did. This model is significantly cheaper, and it's... That's really odd. The subway scenes, this is supposedly the model that is significantly weaker, significantly cheaper, and significantly faster. And then this is the one that's supposedly the new, much better one. Yes, they're different elements here that may be a bit better, but overall, I'm going to try a front-end design test. This is the one where it needs to make a beautiful website for the watch company, and it has to have a 3D model of a watch, a cinematic panning section. I've noticed this prompt doesn't specifically say it needs to be 3D, so we may get something that isn't off the bat. If so, I'll just prompt it again and say make it a 3D model now. All right, let's take a look at our front-end watch website. Okay, we have a few issues, but the good thing is that it did properly make it a 3D model, and it does have effects when we actually scroll down. Now, it's probably a bracket is missing or something of the sort. All right, so I'm just giving it photos and saying fix this, and then it will. So it fixed it, and that I will say, based off those images, Keyshot Studio PBR, okay, that's very explode view, assemble view. All right, unfortunately, they're not changing it. However, the lighting actually does affect the scene, which is cool. Chrono or diver, and we can also change the watch. Interesting. This made a significant improvement just based off of the photos that I'd sent it. So I'm happy to see that. If we scroll down, okay, the rest of this is still a bit odd. It's definitely got a unique style. View in 3D Studio. So either of these are viewable in the 3D Studio up there. Again, still it seems like something's not 100% together here, but the improvement it made from just sending it those photos was significantly better. Next up, I'm giving it the Seinfeld apartment test. This is one that I had done with 3.5 Flash. I actually just went and looked back at that video because the results with that model really did impress me. Mainly the drum kit simulator result was probably the best one ever. So I'm interested to see just perception-wise how this is feeling versus how that did in that video. All right, it finished and it's running. Again, this is a significant improvement over the 3.5 Flash result for the same test. No, this doesn't look like... Is that the Kramer painting? Yes, it is. Thanks for scaring me. That is. A wealthy elderly couple bought it for $5,000, calling him a loathsome, offensive brute, yet I can't look away. That is true. What I was going to say before I was enamored with this offensive brute is that this doesn't look like the apartment. Like, so far, none of the tests have ever accurately given the floor plan. But if judging this independently as a little scene, it's not bad. It's actually interactive. We have our couch POV. Very good. Front door. Okay. Honey Nut Cheerios. Kitchen and island. All right. Mac workstation, which the position is there. The Mac workstation just isn't there. We have the Porsche 911 Carrera RS. 1973 2.7 liter flat six. I had a 73 911. It was a fun car. It was quicker than you would expect it to be, considering it didn't have much power. I just want to see, like, is anything like we wouldn't expect to be clickable? I don't think so. All right. And then lighting, cozy warm, evening lamps, bright studio. All right, so put in adjustable lighting. Interesting. It's doing some interesting things, like the adjustable lighting here, the watch company website where we could kind of like change the lighting again and then change the specific model of the watch just based off of that, with almost like the same sound effects, just in a different like pitch than what we're getting here when we click on things. It's showing some interesting choices in its design. All right, next up, I'm going to give it the city timeline, or the Chrono City test, where it has to show a city over a number of different periods and then have cool transitions between each individual time period. And it's finished. I'm going to continuously say it because it's quite shocking. Okay, this is a very simplified take on this test. Nonetheless, it, gives us different views, different environments. Again, it's just doing such odd, like, okay, and era details, cyber night, daylight. We'll probably stick to daylight, and the fly-through tour can be paused for now. Okay. All right. I kind of, all right, 2055 is going to be very, very neon. I'm giving that same prompt to Flash Lite here just from the web chat interface. But I've added in, do it in a single HTML file because I tried it and it just generated different images for each time period. They were well done, but it was not what I wanted, so I just had to add that in. Okay, so here's the 3.5 Flash Lite result just from the web chat interface, just because I'm a bit curious to see some comparisons of these two. Okay, yeah, we can definitely tell that there's a definite difference. Odd, I've seen a very similar result to that in the Quen 3.8 iteration of 2055. The buildings get taller. I yelled at 3.6 and told it to make this better. Now we have car movement. There is pedestrian movement as well. There's a little more immersion, I guess. All right, next up, we're giving it a 3D skydiving simulator game test. This is something that I believe I only ran with Fable and GLM 5.2. I don't know, but this has only been done a couple of times, so it'll be interesting to see what we get. All right, so here's our result, and that was probably the longest I've waited for a result here from this model. So far, okay, we have a very, very interesting, again, with some of the odd things it's including, like a gear customizer. So we can customize our jumpsuit color. We can customize the parachute, the snow, as well as the map. And we have even different missions. So let's just try the first one. All right. I want to see how is the terrain. It's not bad. The sound is also correctly corresponding with the speed. Shift is for a head down dive. Oh, yep. All right. And we have the parachute on the back. We're through some clouds now. Let's see if we get through them. Okay, good. We did get through the clouds. And the map does have slight terrain to it. There's different features like a river, snow, mountains. Okay, we have the target there. So I want to see what happens if we... Is it going to pull for us? I'm not touching anything. This model likes sound. I don't think it's going to pull for us. Oh, okay. Hard impact landing. To put it lightly. Let's do Cyber Night and Stars. Oh, wow. All right. And it changed our... Oh, that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. So I launched the chute like way too soon. Flare, hold S or down. Okay. And it is adjusting. We can't really see the top of the chute, but that's okay. We have different camera views. All right. So that's like the first person view. Okay, that's like a third person view. We still can't see the top of our parachute. But... N is for night vision. Maybe we need a different camera for that. Damn, that's... It's like kind of like... It's about to make a tactical game. Okay, this was interesting. This was not bad. So I'm just giving it the historic photo right here and saying this is the cover for an upcoming novel. Give me the title, character names, and then a brief overview. Arthur Vance, okay, and Clara Vance. These names are like from that seemingly like 20 separate name pool that every AI model ever has been able to pick from. Title, Smile for the Family. Domestic suspense and psychological drama. Arthur, Artie Vance on the left. Relentlessly optimistic, affable, and utterly oblivious, Artie is the heir to his family's grand historic estate in upstate New York. Warm-hearted to a fault, Artie believes everything in his life is going picture perfectly, completely unaware of the crumbling reality around him. Then we have Clara Vance. Pragmatic, exhausted, and harboring a dangerous secret, Clara married into the prestige of the Vance family 3 years ago. Beneath her quiet exterior lies a woman burdened by the discovery of a dark family secret, and the unsettling realization that protecting Artie from the truth might cost her everything. Storyline overview. When Artie and Clara move back to the ancestral Vance Manor following his father's unexpected death, Artie is thrilled to step into his family legacy. He sees a bright future filled with renovations, family gatherings, and community prestige. However, as Clara cleans out the dusty study, she uncovers financial ledgers and personal journals detailing 30 years of systemic deceit, illegal cover-ups, and a missing person case tied directly to the estate's foundations. The tension. Clara is faced with an impossible choice. 1. Reveal the truth to Artie, breaking his heart and ruining his family's legacy. 2. Keep this secret to protect him while navigating threats from an anonymous blackmailer who knows what was buried on the property. As Artie poses happily for local press photos and family portraits, convinced their life is an idyllic fairy tale, Clara must silently play the devoted wife while trying to figure out who is watching them from the shadows. Tagline, ignorance is bliss, silence is survival. Aside from the generic names, the actual story proposed here was actually somewhat creative, like financial crimes and things like that. It was beyond the traditional, like, piece tied to disappearances around town that sometimes happens. So that was good to see. I just want to try, why not, for old time's sake. This is highly offensive. We'll see what it says. It's not, but I sincerely apologize for causing offense. My previous response was an attempt to write a fictional story based on the visual contrast and facial expressions, but I understand how interpreting or characterizing people's appearances in that manner can feel inappropriate or insensitive. JK, ha ha ha. We'll see what it says. Ha, you got me. Okay, good. Now, something that had come to mind, and I don't know why. So I'm telling it to create a beautiful front-end design for a website. It can be any type of website, just something that would be like pretty heavily used. So a lot of clicking or action the user would have to take, but make it subtly infuriating to use. So let's see how well it does something that on the surface looks good, but then as you try to use it is just infuriating. Okay, so it's generating some images for us. All right, so it finished it, and I didn't look at anything that it said because I just wanted to see why this would be infuriating. Okay, well, this is infuriating because it's garbage. But this is the same type of garbage that we saw in the initial Slappist Watch website result, leading me to believe there may be an actual issue with the design as opposed to just being subtly infuriating because we told it it needs to look good. I'm just going to send it that and see what it says. I've noted a visual inconsistency. The layout seems a bit squished or elements are overflowing. I'm seeing evidence of the use of Tailwind utility classes. I'm starting to think about root causes. Okay, good. So it understood from that something was not quite right there. All right, so it said it resolved the issues maybe a bit, but still just not quite right. Well, this is definitely infuriating. Oh, yep, okay, good. So stuff like this. Play 432 hertz Serenity drone. That's just resume hypersonic configuration. Okay, so as soon as we scrolled down to the footer, that had popped up. Good. That is very, very infuriating. So it did understand the purpose of this. Okay, let's try. It definitely understood the task. I detected 4.2 seconds of cursor hesitation. Would you like me to clear your form inputs? And now we can't do anything else because it's just good. Okay. Task failed successfully. All right, so let's check a 3D model and creation test. So I'm telling it that I have a 280 DC motor for my RC car project. I want you to create a 3D printable model of a V8 engine that the motor will fit inside of to add some realism to my RC project. The model should be optimized for printing without supports and be detailed and realistic. Interactive 3D web visualizer and STL download center. Now, I did not at all ask for that. But if that allows us to look at these in a, that's actually not, see, like this is cool. The motor's not perfect, but the fact that it went ahead and actually included this web thing where we can both preview it and then download these specific things. We can also change the visual style and theme. There's an exploded view assembly. What the heck? Like, this is impressive, even if this isn't necessarily like on the ball for what we would need, and it is a bit simple. It's the actual presentation here that I'm impressed with. And it kind of goes back to what we've been noticing, like with the Jerry's apartment thing, where we have the different lighting settings, the watch website where we can change the specific watch, and just including, like, it goes above and beyond within the limitations of its capability. Unless the motor, no, that would be impossible for it to slide up from the bottom. But like, that's really cool that it did this. I've never seen any other model that has presented the result to us in this way. And this is very impressive. Even if the result itself isn't 100% what we need, like toggle 280 motor ghost. Okay, we do, it's hard to see, but the shaft actually appears there with that toggle on. And then if we remove it, it goes away. So, and we can even toggle visibility. So there's the motor. I can tell you, like, maybe a year ago, a little more than that, getting this as a result would have been like insane in the title in all caps. 3D print guide, STL download center. Like, what? This is the single best presentation of a result for this test. Oh, it does have a hole for the motor, so it would actually properly fit it. It was just the render that made it difficult to see. This is actually like, this result's like actually quite all right. I'm quite satisfied. Where did this come from? And why could you have not done this with our Chrono City? So I want to do something a little different because that 3D result here really did impress me in terms of the presentation that it gave us. This is truly the best presentation of a result that I've probably seen, when factoring in that we just expected to get a little OpenSCAD thing that we could see in OpenSCAD. This totally went above and beyond here and actually presenting this to us. And I was impressed with that, even if the engine itself was a little primitive. So I've gone into anti-gravity, of course, and I said there's an Android phone connected to this PC. Create an app for it that allows me to tune my guitar to exotic tunings and tells me how. So like what the tuning would be. This needs to be a polished app with an app icon, good visuals, beautiful UX design. It will need to use the phone's mic to help the guitar get tuned, include additional features if they're impressive and you can comfortably do so. The phone can run AI models, so go crazy. I'm not expecting it to implement AI into this app, but if it wants to, I'm totally cool with that. So right now it's just checking to see, good, I have to click the trust thing that just popped up on the phone. Good, so it's just using ADB to figure out the phone, and we can see right there the device ID or whatever that showed up. Connected via ADB at localhost on 3000. Okay, so that's the issue, is it opened it in the browser, but it's just opening the watch website. Okay, you know what? I don't want a website, I want an app. So I'm going to tell it that. All right, good. It just installed it, and I see it's open on the phone just from the reflection of the camera. Now, I can't actually see this yet, but you'll see it first. Now I'll take a peek at it. All right. You know what? This isn't bad. I'm going to just do a screen recording so we can get a better look at this. Okay, so it has target reference notes. Good. High risk of snapping string. Tune slowly or use a lighter gauge. And it's actually giving us like weight of how much tension the string is going to be under as well. Okay, this is actually pretty cool. Exotic. Okay, and we have different ones we can choose from right here. Open, Pink Moon, Rain Song, Led Zeppelin, Iris, Goo Goo Dolls, Ostrich Tuning, Lou Reed. This is actually cool. It shows us some different ones depending on like what song we'd want to play as well. Iconic and Artist. That's very, very cool. AI Explorer. Oh, it's going to generate a tuning with AI? No, you're not. Target genre style. Ooh, I like that. Apply to tuner now. All right, let's go get the guitar. This is kind of cool. This is like, I'm sure there's lots of references out there of like, oh, here's how to make a tuner app with a microphone. Forget that. It's all about the implementation here and the vibes. Start microphone DSP tuner. Good, we get the permission thing. Okay, so we need to drop B. Oh, it's hearing itself and it's happy. And we get confetti when it's right. Wow. More or less. I don't know how the hell do you play this though. Well, that was quite something. I don't know what to say. And the final thing I'm going to do is just tell it, now make a front-end website designed to sell this as an app, showcase the AI features, screenshots, etc. Okay, it's generating some images for this. Whatever it does, it does. I kind of wanted it to take screenshots of the actual phone. Okay, that's somewhat similar to the ROG phone. That's going to lead us into the conclusion, basically, though, as we'll just look at this in tandem with our conclusion. I have to say, this model is tough to judge because a lot of the website results we did that we do in traditional testing were not necessarily very impressive. Like the browser OS, that was the Flash Lite web OS, because there was some confusion in terms of like, is this the correct model that's being served to us? And it was interesting because the subway station result that we got from the web chat interface for 3.5 Flash Lite was arguably a little better than 3.6 Flash. Maybe it's just a saturated test. I don't know. But overall, this was definitely showcased. It was good at improving itself based off of visual feedback, I would say, at least based off of the Swatch website result. Additionally, something I want to make note of is that it really went above and beyond in terms of adding features in that were not necessarily specifically mentioned in the prompt, like the lighting, cozy, and warm. Just like interesting things like that. Chrono City, not good. Terminal Velocity was actually not as bad. That was the skydiving game. This V8 engine model was fantastic, and not even necessarily because the model itself was like the best one ever, but the way that it presented this to us was absolutely top tier, the best presentation of this test that I've received ever, because normally, yeah, they just give us OpenSCAD and then the parts are there individually. This one I had made a whole website where we could see an exploded view. We could toggle on and off specific parts. Beyond that, we could actually change the color scheme, and then we could download the individual STLs here, and it also gave us a 3D printing guide and a 280 motor ghost. This was seriously like, where did this come from? And seeing this is what made me want to go ahead and actually have it try to do something a little more difficult, like make this Android phone app, which is genuinely, it was pretty awesome. All right, cool. So here's our app website for this. Very in the style and the aesthetic of this. Here's the AI generated photo that it's using to showcase the app. And then we have some different features right here. So nothing crazy, but it's, that's cool, and it actually properly shows it. We can even do our custom AI. So basically put the entire app on a website, features AI engine, and this just brings us to that point on the page that it's linked to, assuming it is Pro AI. All right, so I guess that's going to conclude our first look and test of Gemini 3.6 Flash, a very perplexing model to try to quantify the results because they varied a bit. This was cool, as well as the app that actually went on the phone. There were no hiccups there. It's just so incredibly fast. And this V8 engine model presentation was fantastic. The other things perhaps left a bit to be desired, but perhaps they were not properly flexing the model's strengths. So that's going to conclude our first look and test of Google's newest model and their highest number model of 3.6 Flash. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and thanks for watching.